Every competitive community has a rise, a peak, and a moment where everything changes. Mctiers didn't just start as a powerhouse, it didn't start with controversy. And it definitely didn't start with Marlow. It started with simple idea. Ranked players fairly create competition and let skill speak for itself. But over the years, Mctiers became more than just a tier list. It became a reputation system, a powering ground, and eventually a battleground. Today we are talking about the entire history of Mctiers. The players who defined each era, the owners and the staff who shaped it, the cracks that formed along the way, and finally the current Marlow situation, and what it means for the future of Mctiers. Chapter 1. The Origins. In the beginning, Mctiers was small, very small. It was created during a time when competitive Minecraft PvP lacked structure. Players knew who was good, but there was no official way to measure it. Mctiers filled that gap. Early versions were simple: limited tiers, small testing pools, a tight-knit group of testers and staff. Back then, getting ranked meant something personal. Matches were slower, decisions were debated, and staff members were deeply involved in every placement. This era wasn't about clout, it was about credibility. Early competitive landscape. The top competitors of this era weren't content creators or brand names, they were grinders, players known only within PvP circles. Its Real Me was the number one player, followed by Marlow, White, Black, WTF, Michael Cycle 00, Kailas, and Inapplicable, who became one of the first EU members of all time. These players defined what top tier meant before metas were refined and strategies were optimized. Chapter 2. The First Golden Era. As Mctiers grew, something important happened. People started caring. Rankings began spreading beyond private servers. Discords popped up, claps circulated, and suddenly, Mctiers wasn't just internal. It was something more. Rankings began beyond normal Discord. This is the start of the Mctiers website, marking the start of the first golden era. What made this era special was clear standards, active testing staff, competitive integrity mattered more than popularity. Top competitors of this era became names, brands, players people recognized instantly, players who defined metas, players who newcomers aimed to surpass. This was when Mctiers had its strongest trust from the community. If you were a high rank here, it meant something. Chapter 3. Expansion and Pressure. Growth, however, comes with pressure. As Mctiers expanded, more players wanted testing. More mods were introduced and more staff were needed. And with that came inconsistencies. Not because of bad intentions, but because of scale changes everything. Staff and ownership changes. Over time, ownership leadership shifted. Each owner brought different philosophies, different tolerance levels, different priorities. Some focused on purity, others focused on accessibility and growth. None of these approaches were wrong, but switching between them caused friction. The competitive shift. This era saw faster tests, more frequent rankings, and increased debate over placements. Top competitors were still impressive, but dominance became harder to define. Mctiers was no longer a tight circle. It was a system constructed under constant scrutiny. Chapter 4. The cracks form. This is where the opinions start to split. Players began questioning tester bias, consistency, whether reputation mattered more than performance. Staff members were under pressure from both sides. Players demanding fairness, community demanding speed, mistakes became public. Decisions were clipped, screenshotted, and debated. Trust, once solid, became fragile, more than obsidian in real life. Yet even here, Mctiers still managed, because no matter how controversial it became, everyone still wanted a rank. Chapter 5: Marlow Situation. And then, Marlow, regarded as combat grandmaster and the top ranked player, HT1, who later or during that period set the standard for 1.9 plus combat. The Marlow Situation didn't appear out of nowhere. It was a result of long-standing tension, structural issues, community distrust building over time. Whether you believe Marlow was treated unfairly, properly handled, or became a symbol of deeper problems, one thing was undeniable. This was a moment that everything boiled over. The situation sparked community outrage, staff burnout, and most of all, public criticism at an unprecedented scale. Mctiers wasn't just being criticized, it was being questioned at its core. Not did Mctiers make a mistake, but can Mctiers still function the same way it used to? Chapter 6. Where we are now. Today, Mctiers starts at crossroads. No matter what happens, don't turn left. The competitive scene is split. Either you go into authenticity, which is right, or you go into publicity, which is left. You should never turn left at the crossroads. However, Mctiers did exactly what they shouldn't have, or what many thinks they shouldn't have. Expectations are not higher, but trust is harder to rebuild and scale. The system that once thrived on community belief now has to earn it back. And the future depends on a few things: transparency, consistency, and most important of all, whether leadership learns from past failures. Conclusion: what comes next? Mctiers isn't just a story of failure. It's a story of growth, of ambition, of what happens when a community outgrows its original structure. The Marlow situation wasn't the end, it was just a signal, a warning, an opportunity, a turning point. Whether Mctiers rises into a new golden era or becomes the lesson for more to come depends on what happens next. And now the question isn't what was Mctiers, it is what will Mctiers become. The Marlow situation has officially came to an end. Marlow has quit her position in the Mctiers community. She was one of the most important, influential, and founding mothers of the competitive scene in Mctiers. She built Mctiers from the ground up, and now she has to leave it, just for the greater good of a company she built. She has now transferred her ownership to one of the founding fathers of Mctiers, and now he is hoping to accomplish more than she could ever have done. But that's virtually impossible. However, for now, that's pretty much it for this video, guys. I hope you liked it. And if you want to see who currently are the top 8 players in the world, then check out this video on the screen right now. Till then, see you later. This was my first ever documentary style video, so let me know in the comments if you liked it. Have a great day ahead, and as always, kill pow! Thanks for watching.